welcome back to my channel. My name is Niall and I'm glad you're joining me today. Today's video, as you can obviously tell by the title and by the time of year it is, it's time for my 2024 reading wrapped. Last year, if you recall, I only shared with you guys my top five, not my top five, but my 5-star reads of 2023. And unfortunately this year, I feel like I had maybe 3 5-star reads. It was pretty disappointing. I was pretty disappointed and I was in a reading slump for a majority of this year. So that's not why there are not that many books. And I feel like this is accomplishable in a YouTube video to go through all the books I've read. There are some library books in here that I don't currently have with me, obviously, because I had to return them. And then there are also 2 books that I did DNF. It happens. I would have honestly DNF'd more, but I pushed through. So let's be grateful. Let's be grateful. Here is the stack of books that I have. It is very, very high. I'm scared that they're all gonna drop, but I put them in order to the best of my memory and whatever my Goodreads said of when I read them, so I can go in chronological order of the year. With that being said, let's hop right in. As always, this video is going to try to contain as little spoilers as possible. I know I hate when I get spoiled by a book by a creator, and I don't want that to happen to you, so I'm going to do my best to not spoil or let you know ahead of time if a spoiler is coming. Our first book of the year was Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. He had been an author that was on my list for a very long time because of his Wayward Pines series that I still have not read. But this book, Dark Matter, was my first book of 2024, and it was actually a 5-star read for me. I thoroughly enjoyed this. It is a sci-fi book that goes over the life of Jason Dessen, who living his life 1 minute, and then this isn't a spoiler because I feel like it happens in the first chapter. And then he gets knocked out. That's all I'll say. He gets knocked out and wakes up and is still himself, but in a place where he's done something different and his life doesn't seem like his life anymore. This book was very, very interesting. I really enjoyed this. It was sci-fi, but not too much sci-fi to the point where I was confused and I couldn't retain the information. It stuck to the plot very well, and it was honestly really interesting. I'd never read a book like this. It's essentially about kind of time travel and other universes, which I think is really interesting, and I think it's done very well. And overall, I really, really liked it. However, the book does say it's a thriller. I would not classify this book as a thriller because it wasn't, I guess you could classify this as a thriller. I personally would not classify this as a thriller. If someone told me this was a thriller and I read it thinking it was a thriller, I'd be pretty disappointed. I think it's just a sci-fi novel, but to each their own, I guess. I don't know. Who am I to judge? Do what you want, you know what I'm saying? But I really like this book, and I would recommend this to anyone because it's pretty short. It's only 340 pages. So it's a pretty, to me, light read. I don't think it's that hard to read. I think it was really interesting. I think all of the sci-fi concepts were explained very well, but it wasn't too much sci-fi if you're not usually into sci-fi like me. The next book that I read in 2024 was called Party of Two by Jasmine Guillory. This book was pretty good. I don't remember what I rated it. I don't think it was 5 stars. I think I gave it maybe 3.5, maybe 4 stars. It is an interracial romance book. It is closed door romance. There is little to no spice in this book. There is some hinting of things happening, but okay, something does happen actually, but it's not very descriptive, and it's not, I wouldn't say this is a spicy book. I think this for me is the perfect amount of spice as someone who does not like when books are all spice, no plot, or just too much spice, because I think it can ruin the book. I don't think you need to have sex every chapter. That's ridiculous. This book follows Olivia Monroe, who is a lawyer starting her own law firm in LA. She's a Black woman, and she meets this guy named Max, who is a political figure. They hit it off and they obviously start dating. It goes through how to navigate relationships when you guys are in the spotlight, and also it touches on boundaries very well and communication, I believe. Overall, I really like this book. I think Olivia was a good inspiration for a Black woman in charge, and I think their love story was really nice. The male main character, Max, is really nice, and it's easy to fall in love with these characters, and I think this book was a pretty easy read as well. This next book I read is called Really Good, actually, by Monica Heisey. This is a literary fiction. It is a book. I will be honest, I did not actually really enjoy this book. It pissed me off. The main character, Maggie, is really annoying. And I think that's the point. Maggie is a student getting her PhD, and she's recently divorced. And let me tell you, she's not really good, actually. She's actually really, 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 really bad. She's not handling this well at all. When I say she's not handling it at all, she's not handling it well at all. She is basically spiraling into becoming a horrible person. Not a horrible person. I'm not going to say a horrible person, but I'm going to say a really unlikable person. And it kind of goes through what happens after a breakup if you don't really know what to do and you've kind of lost yourself, you know, in that relationship, and you kind of have to find yourself again. She navigates a new relationship. She deals with talking to her ex and dealing with her friends at this point in time, because her relationship with her friends is also not great either, because she's so hung up on her previous relationship that she's kind of only focused on herself for most of this time and has neglected a lot of her friendships. I think it's a good book for the lesson that it is trying to convey, but I just want to let you guys know that you might hate this character, because I wanted to DNF this book so bad because she kept pissing me off. I didn't rate all my books in Goodreads, so I'm sorry if I'm not remembering my ratings. I think I gave this book like a 3, maybe a 3. I think it teaches a good lesson. I think it touches on some really good points, but I hated Maggie. I did. I'm sorry. She was really annoying. Yeah, the next book that I have, I just like refreshed my memory on what it was about, and it's so cute. The next book I have is Reggie and Delilah's You're Falling. This book is by Elise Bryant, who I have another book by later on. I gave this book 5 stars. It was so freaking cute, you guys. This is a young adult romance. It was so cute. It was very touching. And so the premise of the story is that Reggie and Delilah are 2 people who are kind of hiding how they really feel and who they really are from their friends and their family. So Reggie is a D&D dungeon master, and he does the dungeon mastering of D&D with his friends, and he gets a lot of, you know, shit for it, especially from his older brother and his friends, and, you know, he kind of feels outplaced. And then we have Delilah, who is not good at setting boundaries and saying no, and she is a good singer, and she ends up being a singer, the lead singer for her friend's band, even though she doesn't really want to be the lead singer of the band, but she's a good singer, and she just needs to, like, you know. But anyway, they meet for the first time on New Year's Day, and then they meet again on Valentine's, and then on St. Patrick's Day, and they just keep meeting. It's fate. Every holiday, it seems like they keep meeting, and then they make it like an intentional thing, and it's them getting to know each other, dating, opening up to themselves, finding themselves, and finding their truth in their words, and learning how to be comfortable in their own skin. I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I would recommend it to anyone who wants a good, light, funny, cute YA romance, or just any romance. It's a really easy read. It wasn't very long, and I just loved it. It was beautiful, and I loved it, and I couldn't recommend it enough. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. The next book that I read is called Ace of Spades. I'm sure that you guys have heard of Ace of Spades. I know that I heard of Ace of Spades several times before I decided to like actually get Ace of Spades, and I didn't buy it. I saw it in the library, and that is what made me decide to read it, because I was like, okay, it's in the library. I keep hearing all these great things about it, so I'm gonna just get it and see. It doesn't cost me any money. Why not? And that's exactly what I did, and I loved it. I actually rated it 5 stars. I don't think it was a strong 5 stars like with Reggie and Delilah's You're Falling, but I think it was a very, very good book. So it is about these 2 polar opposite Black people that go to this very prestigious, private, predominantly white high school. Exactly. You get the gist of where this is going. So Devin is, I don't want to spoil. So I'm not going to spoil. Basically, someone at their school is outing their secrets. That's what I'll say. Someone in their school is outing their secrets to the rest of the school. And Devin is kind of like this quiet musician, reserved kind of guy who's just trying to focus on his music and get out and help his mother. And Chiamaka, I don't know if I'm saying that right, is a popular girl. Her parents are rich. I think she's rich. I think her parents are like a lawyer, a doctor or something maybe, but they've got money. Anywho, these two people have never once crossed paths. They're polar opposites, right? Until both of their secrets start getting exposed. Then they have to come together and figure out what the heck is going on and why is someone airing out our dirty laundry. And they find out. They find out who it is. And it has roots. It's layers. It's layers to it. It's layers. And I think it was a really good story. I think it was very interesting. I think it was very cute. Obviously, they're not love interest, but I really enjoyed it. I think everyone should read it. It was a really easy read, and it was interesting. It was very interesting. The next book that I read is called My Soul to Keep, and this was a recommendation from my librarian at my local library because I was looking for, this was Black History Month. Oh, these 3 books were my Black History Month reads, by the way. I just remembered that. I wanted to read only books by Black authors about Black people for the month of February in 2024, and that's exactly what I did, and this is the 3rd one on that list. And it is a horror thriller. I wouldn't say it's horror. I would say it's a thriller mystery type vibe, and it is interesting and it is good. I gave it 4 stars initially. I think that this is a book that I would read again. I don't tend to read books over, so let the people know I don't tend to read books over. I would read this book again because I don't think I fully appreciated it for what it was when I first read it, because I was like, this shit is weird. And it is weird. But it's a good weird, and it's not weird. It's very, very interesting. I think if you are interested in kind of history, African culture, religion, I think that this book could be really, really up your sleeve. Basically, I feel like this is a book that you should go into blind. That's what the librarian told me. It is a very good book, though. Like I said, I would read this book again. And I'm gonna try to keep my comments to a minimum. I don't know what I should or shouldn't say. I don't know, but I think it's a really good book, and I think the less you know, the better. I don't think you should try to figure out anything. Just read. You'll figure it out very easily. I mean, you'll figure it out soon enough. They're going to tell you before the book is over. But I think it's best that, I just remembered something that happens. When you're like thinking about a book that you've read and you haven't read it for a long time and you're just going through everything again in your mind and stuff starts popping up that you like forgot about. That's what's happening right now. I would 10 out of 10 read this book again. I changed my rating of this book to 5 stars because sometimes you have to let a book sit for a little bit. You have to let it marinate. I've let it marinate. And now that I'm thinking about it again, it ate. It really did. The next book is Love in Winter Wonderland. This is a book about these 2 characters, Trey and Ariel. They're Black. The book is based in London. Trey's family owns a bookstore that he works at. And he's a popular kid, and he works there, and he's just kind of balancing that. That's really all his issues. He's got a girlfriend too. Anywho, Ariel is a more creative, I think, and I know. She's a creative, and she's trying to save up for this art program that she wants to get into that is really prestigious and really expensive. And so there's an opening at the bookstore. She starts working there. Then they find out together that the store is on the brink of being closed due to lack of funds because they don't have a lot of customers, and they have a rival bookstore kind of like across the street that's doing a lot of like cheap bargain sales that's like kind of just beating them out. Anywho, this book goes them trying to save the bookstore. That's really what's happening. They're trying to save the bookstore, and of course it has their life and their schoolness and all the stuff that's going on. I think it was a really cute book. I think it was an easy read. It's not something that has really stuck with me though. It was a good read, but I don't know if I would recommend it just because I don't really remember that much that happened. I know Trey, he can sing, but I think he has stage fright. Oh, and I think he also likes to read. And Ariel can paint. She's very creative, and she actually, I won't spoil it. Anywho, if I had to rate this book now, I'd probably give it a 3 just because I can't really remember much of what happened. But I think it was cute, and this cover is cute. And who doesn't love a romance in a bookstore? The next book that I have is called When No One Is Watching. This is by Alyssa Cole. This is advertised as being a thriller horror. I don't think this is a thriller horror. Thriller, okay. Horror, no. No. This book pissed me off. I don't really like this book. I gave it a 3 stars on Goodreads, but I didn't really like this book. When you're thinking about this book, think about Get Out. And if you've seen it, they clone Tyrone. That's what this book is. The problem with this book and why I don't like it is because let me put the book down for a second. I don't like when Black stories are centered around or created for or catered to white people. And this story isn't necessarily completely doing that. It touches on gentrification in New York, and let me actually tell you what the story is about. It's about gentrification in a neighborhood in New York, an all Black neighborhood in New York, that the main character Sydney grew up in. It's in Brooklyn, and gentrification, obviously there's a bunch of white people moving in, and she's worried about it, and she's got her own other issues going on. It's basically a conspiracy theory about why all these white people are moving in, and they're starting to get concerned because all the other older residents of this neighborhood are getting pushed out for some reason, and it's kind of odd, and it's like, what's happening? They figure out what's happening. It's nothing good. Obviously, it's nothing good. I said think of Get Out and They Clone Tyrone. Nothing good happens in those movies. Well, that's not true, but you know what I'm saying. Anywho, the reason I don't like this book is because I don't like that it's like having to explain a lot of Black history, culture, and stuff like that to this white person in this book. I don't really love that, because I don't like when it seems like the book is catering to a white audience, even though it's about Black people and should be for Black people. I just don't really like that. I feel like the main character could have been a Black man, and it could have been done that way, but everyone has their critiques, and this is mine. I also don't think that the book's thriller aspect was really there for me. I felt like creepy things and like thrillery things would happen barely, and then it just kind of fell off. Like, it wasn't like a consistent, like I was worried at some points, and then it would just like fall off. And so, yeah, that's how I feel about this book. If you want to read it, I say read it. I don't think it was a bad book. I mean, if you want to read it, you can. Those are just the aspects that I didn't like. I thought it was interesting. I thought the plot was interesting, but like I did say, it was kind of like Get Out and They Clone Tyrone. But I still think the book was very, very interesting. And I think you should read it because there are very interesting aspects of it, because it's kind of, their plot, I'm not going to spoil anything, but I think it was still a good book. Those were just my 2 critiques of it. The next book is also a library book that I no longer have, and it is called If I Never Met You. I am looking at my phone because I don't have the book with me to look at. This book is a romance fake dating trope, which we all love. We all love. Lori's down bad in this book. Down bad. She was with her man for a very, 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 very long time. And she wanted to get married. She wanted to get married and she wanted to have kids. He didn't. Next thing you know, he's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. She's like, what the fuck? They break up. They were dating for over a decade. These are grown. They're in their 30s. Mind you. Anyway, they both work at the same law firm. Problems already, guys. Problems already. Her ex, whose name I don't remember and honestly don't care for because he was not a good person, has a new girlfriend. This is not a spoiler. It's in the explanation. He gets pregnant. So, to try and show her ex that, she still got it. She's still good. She decides to try fake dating this other character, Jamie, who is our main male character. Jamie is a bad boy. He's not really a bad boy. He just doesn't believe in love. However, if he wants to make partner at the law firm, of course, they all work together. He needs to be in a respectable relationship with someone who's serious so that he can be taken more seriously. Hence the fake dating. I think it's Jamie's idea, honestly, but I don't remember. They start fake dating, obviously. And you know what? It goes well, and then it doesn't. I don't know if that's a spoiler. I feel like, can you really spoil a romance? You know what's going to happen. They're going to meet. They're going to fall in love. There's going to be conflict. They're going to get back together. Anywho, I think it was cute. I think it was a cute little short read. I liked it. You may like it too. I think if I thought about it now and I gave it a star rating, it would be 3.5, 4 stars. I liked it. The next book I have is Love Radio by Ebony Liddell. Trigger warning, sexual assault. FYI, just because I know I would have liked a trigger. I don't think there's a trigger warning at the beginning of this book. I can't remember. But trigger warning. It's not explicitly discussed, but the theme is there. This follows Prince Jones, who has his own radio show at 17. How? Who knows? Just kidding. His uncle, I think, has a radio host. He's got an in. Anywho, he gives love advice on the radio. And he has big dreams, but his mom has multiple sclerosis. And his dad's out of the picture. And he has a little brother. So he's like, I can't really do that. Come Danny. Danny is smart. She's pretty. She's got everything you could want. And she wants to be an author. And she wants to move to New York City. But she's tripping up on her essay because she's scared to confront the truth and what happened to her. And they find each other. And they connect with each other. And Prince is like, oh, you can fall in love with me with 3 dates. And she's like, boy, stop playing. The rest is history. I think this was a good book. It was a really cute YA romance. If you're interested, I think you should definitely read it. It is a Black book by a Black author. Why not support it? The next book that I have for you folks today is the book that I can't find, but I own. I bought it, and I hated it. So it's only funny that I can't find it. But here it is. The Good Girl by Mary Kubica. Now, if you watched my video last year, you would know that Mary Kubica's book, what was it called? The Other Misses, was a 5-star read for me. 5 stars. So I was like, girl, Mary, let me check out another one of your bangers. Not a banger. Not a banger. I think it's also funny how progressively more insane I've gotten as this video has progressed. You can tell how much I liked the book and how much I remember from it based on how I'm acting, right? This book pissed me off. I did a reading with me on TikTok about this book. It pissed me off. This book follows a girl who gets kidnapped. I'm trying to figure out what the heck's going on. That's basically it. That's basically it. It has different point of views, which I thought I would love. I was like, oh, different POVs. Perfect. No. Severely disappointed. I don't want to spoil the book for you all. But I think I'm going to go ahead and spoil it. Basically, what pissed me off about this book is that the girl was kidnapped by this man. Someone had hired her to kidnap. Someone hired him to kidnap her because of who her daddy is, right? Which father is not a good man either. Anywho, he kidnaps her because he needs the money. And he's like, all I gotta do is drop her off. All he has to do is take her and give her to somebody else. And then he gets his money. Do you think that that's what he does? No. He takes her. He just takes her and he just keeps going. He just keeps driving. And he takes her. And then you know what else stupid thing happens? They fall in love with each other. And then you know what else stupid thing happens? Because it actually goes from before she was kidnapped / during her kidnapping to after she was kidnapped. So it's switching point of views and also timelines. But you know what else happens? She's pregnant with his baby. I don't like that. He kidnapped her. Why are we trying to redeem this man? Oh, he just is trying to. I wanted it to be, I guess I just was looking for a book that was gonna be good. I'm being very mean. I'm so sorry, but I feel very strongly about how much I was disappointed in this book because I was expecting one thing and I got another thing, and that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted. If you want to read a book about the redemption arc of a kidnapper, of a man who's trying to figure his life out after he kidnapped somebody, read it. I wasn't. You kidnapped her. Go to jail. Anywho, the next book that I have read is called Cross the Line. It is an F1 romance. If you don't know what F1 is, it's Formula One racing cars. I know nothing about it, but look at how cute these people are. And look at how cute the cover is. And guess what? This guy is her brother's best friend. You want to read it now, don't you? Yeah, because who wouldn't? Forbidden Love. It's really good. They like each other. They had a moment. And then they were like, you're off limits. That's what her brother said. You can't date my sister. I'm not going to spoil it. But it was cute. It was sappy. He's head over heels for her. So if that's your thing, I know a lot of people like in books when the guy is like head over heels in love with the female main character. That is this book. It was really cute. It was really nuanced as well in terms of her career, social media marketing, him being a Formula One racer. It's not something that I see often. And so I liked it. I think I'd give it like 3.5, 4 stars. It wasn't bad. It was an easy read. It's pretty thin. I mean, I don't know what your definition of thin is, so, but it was a pretty quick read, and I liked it. It was cute. I didn't love it, but it was cute, and they're cute, and it was fun. So, there. I had to go after that last one because my camera started dying, and I needed to charge it for a little bit, and it's still basically dead. So, let's try and hurry this up. I have 8 books left for you guys. I'm going to try to get through this as fast as I can. This book is insane. It's absolutely insane, and you should read it. It's called Black Sheep, and it is not at all what you're going to expect. It is about this lady whose family is a little kooky. Whatever kooky you're thinking, think kookier. Think kookier. That's all I'm going to say. I really can't say anything else because I don't want to spoil the main thing about this book. You find out very soon, but it's weird. And it was good. I liked it. It was that's all I'm going to say. You should go into it as blind as I was and just have a good time. Everybody and their mother knows Just for the Summer. Everybody and their mother knows. Do I even have to really give my spiel? This is a really, really cute book. She's thick. This is a thick book now. But it was good. It was very, very cute. It's about these 2 characters, Emma and Justin, who both seem to have this weird thing in their previous relationships where the person that they're dating, the next person that person dates is their like love of their life, and they get married. And so they were like, well, this happens for both of us. That's weird. Maybe it'll cancel out if we do it together. Like if we date and then, you know, it'll like whatever. Because that makes sense. But yeah, the main character, Emma, she's a nurse, I believe, and they do travel nursing, which I think is really cool. This book was cute. It got a lot of hype on TikTok, which is why I bought it. I think it was good. I don't know if it was worth necessarily all of the hype, but it was a very cute story. It deals with family issues in a very interesting way that I wasn't expecting. They both have very complicated family relationships and issues that they have to navigate while also trying to navigate dating each other. And I think it's very, very interesting. And I think it's a good book. Thinking on it, I think it's a good book. I don't know if it needed all the hype. Like it wasn't like, oh my God, this is the best book I've ever read, but it was good. It was interesting and it was cute. I'd give it maybe 3.5, 4 stars. I feel like I've said that for every book because I'm indecisive and I don't know, but it was good. If you've been debating reading it, I say just read it. Just read it. The next book is The Naturals. This is a series. It's a 4-book series. This is book 1. This follows, what's her name? Cassie, who is a 17-year-old, and she's really good at reading people, and she gets recruited to work for, I think, the FBI in this naturals program of other teenagers who have weird abilities that work cold cases, help the FBI solve cold cases rather, in this off the books program. And her life and trying to figure out the lives and the backgrounds of these other kids, and also trying to, tie up some loose ends. These people got crazy lives, but it's good. It's a quick, easy read. A really, really easy read. I really enjoyed it. I couldn't put it down. I got through this book very, very quickly, and I enjoyed it. This is like the first series I've ever actually started, and I'm excited to continue reading it in 2025. This next book I saw at a bookshop, and I said, oh, this is like a cute little book. This seems so interesting. Days at the Murasaki Bookshop. This is a very, very cute, kind of just like life book. It follows Takako. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Who was in a relationship, and now she's not in a relationship because that man is not a good man. And so she goes and stays with her uncle, and he owns a bookshop. And it's just kind of her trying to find herself after this. And it's really just a cute short story about life and finding yourself, finding friends, finding people that you just are better aligned with. I think it was cute. Obviously, it was a very quick read. I've been wanting to kind of read shorter books and incorporate that more into my TBR, and so this was the first of many in the future. I really like this book though. It was very nice, and I think if you're looking for some advice, I think this book offers some good advice and is a good book for clarity. And sometimes you just need clarity, and you need someone to be honest with you. This is the next book, 7 Rules for Breaking Hearts. I read it. It wasn't bad. It's about this girl. What I don't like is that she has green tips on her hair. I don't like that. Anyway, her and her best friend have a podcast called 7 Rules for Breaking Hearts and how to not get committed into a relationship, blah, blah, blah. Her best friend ends up breaking that code and is getting married, and she's not for it. She just is like, I didn't like this book because these two, she's the maid of honor, he's the best man, not at any of the bridal events. The setting for this book is the wedding, like the week before the wedding and all that stuff. And there's nothing about it, like it just, I think more detail could have been put into the side characters and the setting and stuff like that. It just really focuses on these two. They went to high school together, and she kind of like didn't like him then and thinks he's an asshole. He's liked her the whole time, of course. Sorry, that was a spoiler. It was cute though. I mean, it was cute. And that's what I'll say. This is book 2 of the Natural series called Killer Instinct. I feel like I can't go much into this. It was the second book in the Natural series. It was good. The first one had a really kind of big plot twist. This one also kind of had a very big plot twist. They're just trying to find the killers. This one, we find out a lot more about one of the male main characters from the first book and his backstory and kind of his father and all that mess of his life. That was messy. I think that I would give this book like 4 or 5 stars. I really like this book. They're easy to read. They're entertaining. What more can I ask for? Now, the love triangle in this series so far is disappointing me. This book kind of seals the deal and ends the whole love triangle thing, but I personally think that it ended too soon and it started too soon. I think that drag it out. Now, I've got 2 books left in this series, so who knows what's going to happen, but I definitely think that the love interest and romance should have started at the end of the first book and continued more into this book and then kind of blossomed in the 3rd and 4th book, but obviously, I haven't read the 3rd and 4th book yet, so I don't know what's going to happen. But that's my opinion. That's kind of the only thing that I didn't like about this book, but yeah. Okay, we're down to the last 2. My camera's dying. I'm sorry. This book is a library book. It's called My Mechanical Romance. Oh, I think it was a cute book. I think it was a really good book about what it means to be a girl in a male-dominated space like engineering. However, would I call it a romance? not really. I feel like the romance for me wasn't there enough, and I'm like, it's a YA, so like that's not a big deal. But I feel like it's called My Mechanical Romance. And to me, romance was an afterthought, and the main thing was the mechanical engineering aspect, which I think was really important to touch on, girls doing things that girls can do, because girls can do anything, and boys are disgusting and ugly and stupid. Female empowerment, representation, and believing in yourself are the major themes of this book. I thought it was a good book, though. Maybe like 3 stars, because the romance just wasn't hitting for me all the way. But I did like that it didn't have a conventional ending of like, oh, I'm not going to spoil it, but it didn't have a super conventional ending. I did like that. The last book that I actually just finished a couple of days ago, but since I started it in 2024, I'm counting it as a 2024 read, is One True Loves by Elise Bryant. And because of how much I loved Reggie and Delilah Z Are Falling, I had high expectations. And I'm not going to say I was let down, but I will say that it was kind of confusing based on what it says the book is about, and she's being undecided in her major when she's really not undecided because she's picked a major. She just doesn't want to major in what she chose as her major. So that's kind of like, because it says she's going there with a big fat U for undeclared, and she's not undeclared. She has a major, she just doesn't like her major. That's not the same thing. And the book didn't seem like it was going to be focused on romance. Like the main thing was going to be her being undeclared and blah, blah, blah. But romance was like, we didn't get to the part of her being undeclared and her history, like whatever, until like the second, third chapter. And so for me, that was just kind of misleading, because and also she's kind of like anti-love, anti-relationships, because she hasn't had good relationships in the past. She goes on a cruise, and her parents tell her, by the end of this cruise, you need to have your future figured out. I did not like her parents in this book. I think that they did a really bad job at being parents, but maybe that was the point. They don't listen to her. They're too mean. Not mean, but like, when you'll read it, you see. But it was still a good book, and I liked the ending. I liked the love story. I thought it was very, very cute. So there's that. That is all the books that I read in 2024. Honorable mentions, my DNFs. I DNF'd 2 books this year. Upgrade by Blake Crouch and Iona Iverson's Rules for Commuting. I DNF'd this book because it was too technical. It is a sci-fi. It's another Blake Crouch book. I was excited for it. It's about kind of like DNA manipulation, and it was just too technical for me. I couldn't enjoy it. It was just way too technical for me, and I couldn't enjoy it. So that I DNF'd it. This book I just couldn't get into. It's kind of like a literary fiction, I guess it was just kind of like life and the people you meet when commuting and the impact that they can have on each other when you don't even know it. I thought it was kind of cute. It just didn't like keep my attention, and I was bored, and I didn't want to read it anymore. And I said, you know what? I don't have to. No one has a gun to my head, and so I didn't read it anymore. I might pick it back up. I may not. Upgrade by Blake Crouch, I don't think I will ever be picking back up, just because I really didn't enjoy it. Those are all the books that I've read, DNF'd, all my opinions for my 2024 reads. I hope that you got some book recs from here. I feel like I definitely gave you some good ones to check out. If you read any of these books, I'd love to know your opinions on them. If you're interested in knowing more about my opinions on books, let me know and I can make more book videos. My goal for 2025 is to read, I think my goal is 20 books. My goal for last year was actually like 40. Didn't get it. So this year I'm going to go for 20, because I have to take into account that I do work a job now. It's going to be hard to manage your time when you work from 9 to 5:30 p.m. But I'm excited to see how many books I read in 2025 and what my opinions are. It sucks that there were no 5-star reads this year, but I'm still glad of all the reading that I was able to accomplish. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed my commentary, and I'll see you next time.